Hello and welcome to another episode here on my channel. My name is ChaosMole and today we are talking about Company of Heroes 3 and my first impressions of the pre-alpha. We have now played the game for 4 hours on stream. What you were seeing here is directly from my live stream. This is also where you see my camera in the top left corner because I always have my cam on my live stream. And you would just have my live stream cam in the top left corner instead of my face right now, so it made sense to put it there. And as I said before, this is a pre-alpha. And no, this is not a marketing gimmick, this is actually a real pre-alpha because the game is coming out by the end of next year in 2022. So yeah, it's a real pre-alpha. You will see a lot of bugs, things will look kind of unfinished, they are placeholder icons and so on and so forth, the whole shebang. So don't mind that too much, but let's talk about gameplay. And I will be honest here with you, when I first thought about Company of Heroes 3, I was like, do I really need another World War II strategy game? Do I need another Company of Heroes 3? And my first reaction was, probably not. Like seriously, I don't think so. Especially after Company of Heroes 2, I wasn't really too jazzed about it. And then remembering Dawn of War 3, I was like, no, probably not. Now I've played this game for 4 hours and I can say, hell yeah, I need another Company of Heroes in my life because it is very different, but good. I think the important part we have to discuss here is a little bit of Relic Entertainment and their development philosophy, because every time Relic is designing an amazing new game like Company of Heroes, Dawn of War, the first game is amazing and you're like, oh my god, I cannot wait for the second game or for the third game. And then those games are coming out and you are like, oh, I want to go back to the first one, please. Like with Company of Heroes 2, it's a wonderful example. Company of Heroes 2 wasn't a bad game. It was just focusing much more on vehicles and made decisions which I personally didn't enjoy. And the same goes with Dawn of War. Like Dawn of War 1 was a Command & Conquer. Then Dawn of War 2 was basically a StarCraft. And then Dawn of War 3 became a League of Legends kind of game mixed with StarCraft. Like I just didn't like the direction that was going, and I was like, wait, why are you not just keeping it to be like a Command & Conquer, not so much playing the micromanagement but on a macro level? And with Company of Heroes, they focused very much on the vehicles, and a good single vehicle could completely control the battlefield. And that might be realistic, it wasn't really fun to play. So what they did with the new one right now is, yeah, you can have a good amount of vehicles and they are strong, but if you have a bazooka squad infantry, they're taking out your vehicles in seconds. Like, they feel strong, but they also feel very weak, and from a pure gameplay aspect, it feels much better. But let's talk about the new additions. Let's talk about the changes. Well, you can already see one of the biggest changes, which is the campaign map right here. You're starting out on a campaign map and you make your own decisions where you want to move your units and what you want to do with the units. The units can level up, they can get skills, passive, actives, units they can unlock for the real-time strategy fights. And it feels more like Total War. Like you're planning out your movement, you're planning out the areas you want to capture and you want to hold, which give you resources every 3 turns, and then you're building more units you are taking into the battlefield. And the really interesting point here is the big difference between attachments and companies. Companies are the units who can start real-time strategy battles, and the attachments or detachments, I think detachments, cannot. They can just do damage on the map, but they cannot start an RTS battle. And you see that right here, right? I'm starting an RTS battle, and then you are moving over to the standard Company of Heroes feeling. Like you have your base, you have to capture points, you have to do objectives, you are bringing units from the campaign map over to the real strategy map. So there's much more freedom now, and as I said, it really feels like Total War, which is good. I think putting more Total War into your Company of Heroes games, even though it's not the same company, they're still both owned by Sega, is a good idea. Why not taking that idea? And oh yeah, there's one thing pointing out that is an M16 in the picture, and I'm like, wait, M16 in World War II? What? Again, small things pre-alpha. But let's talk about the real-time strategy aspect. It feels very much like Company of Heroes, what you will see here in a minute. It is Company of Heroes. You use the cover, you have different units who have all different strengths and weaknesses, which bring their own abilities to the battlefield. You can upgrade, you can tell them to fall back and then recover at your base, and so on and so forth. Like, that hasn't really changed. But what has changed is the actual ability to, well, make your units feel more important. I think that's the right term. Like, every unit now feels like they can actually do something on the battlefield. They are not dying as quickly as in Company of Heroes 2. Like, they survive much longer, and using the cover and repositioning their units is like super important, and it feels good. Like, the movement feels super solid. I love the animation in the game. Like, you are literally like jumping behind cover. Like, you see your units sliding around. You see your units reacting to destruction. Right now, it seems like the destruction does absolutely no damage. So when a building is collapsing or something is falling down, you're not getting hurt by. So you don't really have to worry about that. And it just feels good. Like, seriously, it feels really good. I also love the veteran stuff. Like, whenever you have the veterancy on your units, you can now decide to just, unlock like the knife throw, unlock the time demo charge, right? Like, you can now decide what you want to do with your units and how you want to specialize them. You still have your company abilities, as you can see here on the right side, right? Like, this is the intro movie, by the way. They're showcasing like some of the stuff, and they're still helping you out. You are still capturing the points, like the whole shebang, the whole thing you have learned from the other Company of Heroes games. But as I said, your units feel much more capable. They're not dying as quickly. You can still react. And one of the newest features I really enjoyed for myself was actually the ability to stop time. Stopping time is such an amazing feature you can see right here. Tactical pause. You can of course only do that in single player, but you can pause the game and you can tell your units what they should do next. And you can give them multiple commands. It's not just right click and then that's it. You can say, okay, you move there. Then after you move there, you move to that other point. And from that point, you throw a grenade at the enemy. Like, you can give them actual command lines. And it makes it so great. I will be honest, I have never expected that the tactical pause in Company of Heroes makes this game feel amazing. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm immediately start to utilize this, that I'm having two squads. There's one squad who will take like the right side of the airport, and then there's the other squad which will move to the left side. So I'm fanning out and try to utilize the tactical pause whenever something happens. And because of that, it works. I could do it. Later on, I'm moving all the armies together, and then I basically crush the enemy. But because of the micromanagement, it can become very chaotic. And you might say, well, Mole, that has always been the case in the Company of Heroes game. And you're right, it has always been the case. But I hated it. I hate micromanagement. This is why I'm not a big fan of StarCraft. I think there's too much micromanagement and you're basically just zipping around the battlefield and using all your abilities in the right manner. And I never really can appreciate the fight which is actually going on. And thanks to tactical pause, yeah, you will still have to use your abilities, you still have to position your units and so on and so forth. But thanks to tactical pause, I can do that right from the beginning, and then I can also watch the battle unfold a little bit. And it's amazing. It's just great. Like, I think the tactical pause is one of the biggest and greatest addition to the game. One thing I also love is the breach ability, which you will see here in just a few. Like, the breach ability is kind of interesting because it allows your team to clear out a building. That doesn't necessarily mean that the enemy unit will die immediately when you are breaching a building, but there is a pretty good chance that you are hurting them very badly, and then you would definitely kick them out. Like, you will kick them out of the building, and it feels so amazing. You can see that right here. Like, my flamethrowers will start the breaching. They still can be attacked. They're not immune when they are starting the breaching, so you have to be careful with that. And then they are starting the breaching, and yes, they will actually all die. But what happened with me is the enemy started the breaching, and my units survived, but they got kicked out of the building. And I think that's a very, very important ability in the game. Artillery feels a bit weaker right now. Like, the chance of you hitting always your targets is not always there. Like, there are a lot of moments where you just don't hit. But they don't have to, because the soldiers will still piss themselves by just having artillery shells hitting left and right. MGs are strong, but you can still flank them, you can still outmaneuver them, and they are not immediately killing your units. Like, everything survives a little bit longer, and I appreciate that. I was not a big fan of Company of Heroes 2 realism, where everything died super fast, right? If they were not in cover, tanks were super strong. Like, yes, it was realistic, but for me personally, it wasn't really fun. And they brought that back in the new one. So, knowing that this game is still 1.5 years out, I'm really looking forward to what they can bring to the table. Like, this has been an absolute joy. I can't wait for more of it. And at least when it comes to single player, this might be the best Company of Heroes yet. I can't speak about the multiplayer because A, it's not in the game, but we will see about that. But so far for the single player, I would say it's really fun, and you should check it out. You can test the game for 3 weeks now. It's open for everyone. You just have to go to companyofheroes.com, click on Play Now in the top right corner, and then you have to connect the account with your Steam account, and bam, you can play it. It's pretty simple, and you should. It's a lot of fun already. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Stay safe,